This is the Leopard Gallop. It gets me across town faster than traffic and still feels planted on busted pavement and gravel. I would put it in the electric scooter for adults category, but not the lightweight commuter kind. I reach for it when I want real speed, real range, and the option to sit down for longer rides. It suits me on hilly routes, mixed surfaces, and days when I want the confidence of strong brakes and suspension more than I want something feather light. The first thing that affects daily use is the build. The frame is chunky in a reassuring way, and the deck is wide enough that I can shift my stance when the road changes. The 10-inch by roughly 3-inch off-road tires have enough volume to swallow cracks, and they grip well on packed dirt and uneven concrete. The swing arm suspension takes the sharp edge off potholes and curbs. The front and rear disc brakes are sized and positioned, so I do not have to overthink panic stops. Lighting is everywhere, with bright headlights and integrated turn signals that help me stand out when it gets dark. There is a built-in screen on the handlebar that shows speed and battery, and next to it I have physical buttons for lights, turn signals, and a horn. The handlebar height adjusts quickly, which matters because I like it higher when I stand and a notch lower when I attach the seat and ride it like a small moped. The seat itself is removable, height adjustable, and surprisingly comfortable for a scooter seat. The whole thing folds with a sturdy latch that locks the stem to the deck. It is not a tiny fold, but it does collapse enough to slide against a wall or go into the trunk of a hatchback. Setup was straightforward. I skipped filming the unboxing because the foam situation got messy, but assembly was basically mounting the handlebar and tightening a few bolts, then attaching the seat plate when I wanted to try the seated setup. The controls felt familiar. I hold the brake, power it on with a long press, and choose one of the speed modes. Tapping the headlight button brings up the bright beams. The turn signal switch is easy to hit without looking, and the horn is loud enough to get attention without sounding obnoxious. The throttle has a quick response. There is a gentle electronic braking effect when I let off, similar to what an electric car does. It slows me without touching the levers, and if I need more, the disc brakes have solid bite. Acceleration is where this scooter surprised me. With the dual motor engaged, it pulls hard off the line and keeps building speed in a way that feels confident rather than twitchy. The top end is around 34 miles per hour on flat ground in ideal conditions. The important part is how stable it feels above 20 miles per hour. The steering stays calm, the deck does not chatter, and I can shift my weight without triggering a wobble. The suspension is tuned more for real roads than for soft bouncing. I still feel what I am riding over, but the hits are rounded off. Braking performance is strong. The initial lever travel is smooth and then it ramps up quickly. Once the pad's bedded in after a couple of rides, I could stop hard without locking a wheel. Climbing ability is solid. On my steep neighborhood hill, which the map app calls around 25 degrees at the steepest pitch, I keep a steady pace seated and a faster one standing. It does not run out of steam halfway up. Range is the big question for me because I hate watching a battery bar disappear. On a mixed ride that combined paved paths, city streets, 3 hill climbs, and a stretch of crushed gravel, I put in a decent distance and the range estimate barely moved. After what I would call quite a bit of riding, the display still showed about 49 miles remaining, which lines up with the claimed maximum range of around 52 miles under lighter use. Realistically, with my weight, hills, and a lot of stop and go, I expect less than the maximum, but the important part is I did not feel range anxiety. I ended the day with plenty left. Let me go through a few real scenarios. For a morning commute, I set the handlebar a little higher, leave the seat off, and run in a middle speed mode. The off-road tires mute the concrete seams on the bike lane, and the electronic braking makes it easy to modulate speed approaching lights without riding the levers. When the path dips under a bridge and the pavement gets rough, the swing arms soak up the ruts better than I expected for a scooter. On a lunch ride across town, I switch the lights on even in daylight because the side lighting and turn signals make me more visible. Cars notice. That matters. In the evening, I attach the seat and take the long route along a mixed-use trail with packed dirt sections. Sitting takes the pressure off my legs, and the lower handlebar angle gives me better control as I roll over roots and small rocks. The tire profile and suspension keep the rear end from skipping, and I do not feel beat up when I get home. For a specific use case, I have a weekday loop that is roughly 12 miles round trip with 2 steep climbs and a few unprotected intersections. I leave home with the scooter folded, put it into the elevator, unfold at street level, and lock the stem. The latch is firm, and it takes 2 hands and a deliberate motion, which I appreciate because accidental folds are not an option for me. I ride seated on the flats and stand on the climbs to shift my weight forward. I use the turn signals at every intersection, and the horn comes out when a driver starts creeping into the bike lane. On the return leg, I take a detour onto a short gravel connector. The 10-inch by 3-inch tires track straight and do not dig in. Back at the building, I fold it again and slide it into a corner near my desk. The weight is noticeable when I have to lift the front wheel over a doorstep, so I plan my route around that. The payoff is that I do not need to charge every day. I plug it in every second or third night depending on how hard I rode. There are some smart touches that actually help. The adjustable handlebar and removable seat add real flexibility. I can set it up like a mini mope for comfort or a standing scooter for more active control, and it only takes a minute to switch. The slow down when I roll off the throttle means less brake wear and more predictable control in busy areas. The lighting package is not just a headlight and a tail light. There is lighting around the deck, and the turn signals are bright enough that I see reflections in storefront glass, which reassures me that others can see them too. The on-screen settings let me pick speed modes that cap the top end, which is helpful if I am lending it to a less experienced rider or navigating crowded paths. It is not perfect. The screen can be a little washed out in direct midday sun, so I angle it slightly to get around glare. The throttle is very responsive in the most aggressive mode, and on my first day I had to train my thumb to be smooth, especially starting from a stop. The folding latch is sturdy but stiff when new, and it loosened up a bit after a week. The seat post can creak if the clamp is not tightened enough, so I learned to give it an extra turn. The brakes felt a touch grabby until the pads bedded in, then they settled into a predictable feel. None of these are deal breakers, but they are the kind of things I notice when I actually use a product. Where this scooter earns its place is the overall confidence it gives me. Real speed when I need it. Real range so I am not tethered to an outlet. Brakes and suspension that feel like they were designed with city chaos in mind. The folding and the seat do not feel like afterthoughts. They are part of the experience. I find myself choosing it for errands, for commutes, and for weekend rides just to unwind. If I want something I can carry up 3 flights of stairs every day, this would not be my first pick because of the weight. If I am brand new to scooters and I have never gone faster than a jogging pace, the performance here might be more than I need. But if I want a fast, stable, long-range scooter that can handle hills and rutted pavement, and I like the option to sit when the ride stretches out, the Leopard Gallop is easy to recommend. It is built to be ridden hard and often, and it makes that kind of riding feel safe and controlled. To learn more about the Leopard Gallop, please check the comments section. Thank you for watching.